Hi everyone, it's Nick here from Turnip Starfish. I'm back today to do some more drawing, and I am going to do... I think I'm going to do kind of a pirate sketch today. I've just got to figure out how I'm going to make the figure stand. Do some little doodles a sec. Okay, there's my brush. Here we are. It's a bit lagging. I don't know whether to have him. Do I have him leaning, like stepping, coming onto the beach? Or do I have him? I don't know. Kind of proud. That's a bit dead with the weight balance. Again, I want him a little bit menacing, so I might hunch him a little bit. This will allow me to bend some legs and create some negative shape. Maybe something like this, because then I could have a sword. Maybe something like that. I'll try something like that. We'll see now. I'm going to create a new layer. That's called thumbnailing if you never do that. I'm just going to keep that really light so I can still see it. I'm going to draw my new layer. So I'm going to just put my circle in for my head. I'm keeping this really simple. I'm hunkering the head down a little bit into the body to make him look a bit like stronger up here and a bit more menacing. And I'm just using a curved rectangle for the whole body block, the upper and lower torso. So I'll come into that in a minute. And then I'm thinking of, do I widen the stance? Do I keep what I had? Just keep this really simple. Upper and lower leg about the same length. We're just putting some simple triangle shapes to start with for the feet. That foot's not pointing in the right direction, I don't think. Keep these about the same length. This could be side on. We're going to bulk that out in a minute. And then we're thinking of something like this. There'll be a hand in there. Something like that. We shall see. Oops. Sorry, let me just reset that. Oops. Razor. Wrong button. Razor tool. This has got to come towards me a bit more. That's fine. Let's work this rough layer up a bit. Because I suppose normally I would... Well, we'll do that. I'll take the opacity down on this rough layer, and actually I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to go to transform, image. Good day today. Edit, transform, scale. You can tell it's early in the morning. I'm going to bring that one up, get my selection tool, and I'm just going to move it back over slightly, okay? Use the arrow keys since I couldn't pick it up. Right, I'm going to create a new layer. Go back to my brush. So, it's a bit early, so my brain isn't working, and I haven't done a lot of drawing. We had half term last week here, and we were doing a lot of workshops, but I didn't do much drawing. So, we'll see how rusty I am today. I wasn't planning to make this too cartoony, I don't think, but we'll see. I'm going to put a bit more crosshair on here. I think he's going to need... Do you know what? I'm going to get rid of that layer. I'm going to go back to layer 2. Because I don't know enough about what I'm trying to do with this character yet. So let's rotate him so maybe he's peering at us, so this eye is up. It's going to be staring here and this eye is maybe down. Get side on. And we'll get, let's get like several belts across. And you'd have things hanging off these belts. So what's he going to have? Like he's going to have a sword here. What's he have? What kind of sword am I going to give him? Something that looks like it's been used lots. Right. Traditionally, you'd be a little bit ripped shirts and things. He's a sea dog. Sea dog. Arr. So we could do that. Rip down here. So I suppose this guy's looking a bit more like one of the general sailors now. So we have a bandana. Need the ear high up because of the way this head is rotated, if I'm doing that. And then the knot of the bandana back here. Something like this. This will work. We can add to this. Then we've got to think about, you know, we add in, he's got like skulls hanging. How bad is this pirate? Has he got like little skulls hanging from him? And trinkets. Don't know. For some reason he's got some potions. He's a strange pirate. Maybe some knives. Maybe like a little curved knife. Okay, like another little, maybe another little skull there. And on the other side. Maybe we'll give him some kind of boots. Don't give him some texture. Might seem a bit weird for a sailor. We'll see how that works. Fancy a little bit of armour. He's a well-armoured pirate. I don't know why. Let's build this shape out a bit. Just something like that. Maybe he's got some totems sticking out of his back. With some other long dead pirates. What else could he have on here? He's a pirate. He's gonna have a fish sticking out. That's a bit weird. Maybe not. We could have a little banner. If we make it curve and swoop, it can kind of be something like that. That might work. Something on top. I feel like it needs a little bit of abstraction, so I'm putting another. I think it's going to end up with another skull. The way I'm going. Skulls are the thing today, obviously. There we are. And some strapping. Maybe he's got some armour on this side. A little bit like a junker now, isn't he, with all these different bits. Let's play with his hand. Maybe he's got some kind of like... it's like a Wolverine claw. It's not a claw, it's like a weapon of some kind. Maybe, not at that angle though, I don't think. I'm just try and break the wrist a bit. Looks suitably gruesome. Something like that. That was better. That's worked up better. So I'm just going to pull this down a bit, create a new layer. And I'm going to work on top of this now. So if you want to watch along, that's cool. Just going to add some detail. Just going to sketch today. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer. And we'll start adding some of this detail and see what we come up with. Just going to add this eyebrow shape, and I quite often build these. It's just shapes in here. Zoom back out a bit because I think I'm too far in. Bit of texture. He's got like a broken nose. Let's take this down a bit more. I've still got quite a big brush, but I've got to remember that in the end the picture is, you know, smaller. So I don't want to get too small with my brush. But saying that, I'm going to go a little bit smaller, I think. Now I'll give this guy some facial hair of some kind. Maybe he's got like a, I'm not sure about moustache today. I'll do something like this, and maybe he's got like a plaited beard that comes up into here like a goatee. It'll come down into, thank you, Vast. We'll come down into like some kind of plait here. He's got some string holding this together. We'll give him a little wisp at the end to add a little bit of shape and a little bit of break there. Get a little bit of form in this kind of beard. Right, let's get these kind of leering eyes. So he's staring right at us. He's coming towards us. Arr, let's get the pupil in there. See if we can get this menacing look. Get the tear duct, the eye tear duct. Just put a little bit of mark making here, and we'll put a little bit of line detail. Let's get the other eye. Let's get the pupil. I'm going to keep this one a bit more squinted. Get a little bit of shape in here. Strong cheekbone. We're going to bring this guy in, I think. That works. Just pulling this in, these marks, because from that other side. You have this ear. And keep the shape a little bit simple, cartoony. It's going to do. It's got these rings. Every pirate needs rings in his ear. And a strong jawbone under there. Maybe he's got a few wisps of hair sticking down. Right, the bandana, let's use the construction we had before. It rises over that eyebrow and down. Can even tuck behind here. Need a bit of a thickness as that material rolls around the head. So let's roll that around the head here. And we're going to create some little lumps and bumps as the material sits, I don't know, over the hair or the head or the skull. We're going to roll and something like this. We'll see, maybe we need a few more material marks. That's working. Okay. Let's just go in there and neaten up, because I had the bigger brush, didn't I, to start with? So let's just neaten up some of those marks. Just thin that out a bit so it corresponds to the new mark making. And there was a knot back here, and kind of the ties of material that are tied into that knot on the other side of that knot. Maybe we can give him a tooth, singular tooth, kind of like that. Okay. That's fun. Let's get a little bit of this armour. Should we... Not sure what this armour's going to be made of. Almost like wood, maybe, which sounds a bit wood. But it's got to be a bit shanty, hasn't it, what he's got to hand. Maybe it was straps. Gives him some protection, maybe against arrows or something. Maybe they're bound by little bits of material, rope or something. So we can actually see how it's constructed, because that will give it a little bit of information. I'm going to put a little bit of line pattern on these woods along the direction of this wood and suggest maybe there's another piece there. If I do that, it might be good to suggest more of that binding. Might have to suggest how's that actually attached, but I'm going to leave that at the moment like that. So let's put the other side. So doing something similar. I think we're going to see like this edge, there's a little notch out of that one. Something in here. So we've got the first one about in there. Just darken the outside edge a bit. Then the second one, a little bit of curve on that one. And again, we need these. This is how it's actually tied. On this one, we're going to put a little knot in. And put a little bit of line decoration. That's a little crack in that one. Good. And there'll be another side tucking down somehow in there. Okay, just darken that outside edge. Awesome. Right, let's get this sleeve working. So he's got his arm muscles coming down, bicep, tricep. There's a little bit of shape there, and there's a thickness to this sleeve, and it's got holes in it. And remember, it comes thicker than the arm. And so I've rolled that around, so that sleeve looks like it rolls around this arm. Let's come in here, let's get in the forearm, get the curve of this muscle in the forearm. Down the straight of this side, and he has some strapping which will keep. I'm trying to make sure each piece feels like it sits on top of the other piece. So I'm giving thicknesses. If you're going to do things like this, and keeping these lines curved, as in they're rolling around the curved form of the arm. So something like this is what I'm working on. Maybe there's a little bit of hanging down where there's a knot on the other side or something. Right, keep the flat of the hand, the shape down towards the thumb. Got the knuckle here. Suggest that knuckle. We've got a thumb in here. And we've got some kind of short stub blade or something, I don't know. It's a bit aggressive, isn't it? Okay, let's get this pulling over, and let's do the same on the other side. Just get some 3D-ness to that. Bit of shape in these arm muscles. We get a little bit of shape in here. What we're doing here is putting some straps on again. Trying to make things authentic as in how they actually work, to create a bit more naturalism in this sketch. So he's got this, maybe it's going through a hole and it's knotted on the other side. Maybe this piece of this wood again. Wood is the way forward. Gives him a little bit of protection. But if I sketch a little bit of the details of how this actually works, it maybe look more natural in the end, I think. We've got the thumb in here, got a stubby thumb now. Get one of the other fingernails in here. Watch how big these fingers are getting. Gonna suggest the knuckles. This finger's just behind. And that's the protecting the hand on the knife blade and then the handle on that. And again, if you're going to show off, this should be curved strapping or something around. And then maybe, you can imagine that's got a little bit of form in it. Let's get the outside edge a little bit darker so it maybe a little bit big. So I might have to tone that down a bit. A little bit chunky there. See if that's a bit better. I'm going for quite a long thin blade here, but it's working. So I'm going to pull this up. Go back to my eraser and thin out some of those lines. Some notches where he's been fighting his enemies. There he is, suitably gruesome. Okay, let's get into some of these details of this belt. We've got this one belt on top, so let's get this one on. We've got the curve of the belt as it comes through the buckle. There'll be the piece of the belt holding it. We'll put a little bit of texture on the leather of the belt. And the metal buckle sat in here. So it's going up round. And I'm just going to put this knife in because it sits on top, so let me just get a bit of detail on this. Trying to keep the perspective all the same on this blade. So we're looking up at it right now. I'm going to make it look like it's connected somehow, so it's on. Somehow it's connected to this belt. Maybe it's just a pure blade and it slots in, something like that. So this one, I can pull this belt over. I'm just coming about thickness, so again a bit of realism as it rolls over. We've got a second one, we're going to put a second buckle in. Maybe down there, and it's going to roll up behind there. I've got to get that to work to here. I twisted that a little bit. There you go. What did he have? He had some kind of little potions, a bit weird because like they look like test tubes, but hey ho. Maybe they're connected. Don't know what's in there. I've got another one in here. Somehow it's connected to this belt, a bit of rope. Some kind of potion in there, and then some kind of skull shape of one of his vanquished opponents. Cheekbone down towards the mouth, up to the jaw like this. And somehow this has got to be connected, so I'm going to have to maybe some rope tied around this, because somehow that's connected onto this belt. Maybe there's just a couple of teeth left. Nice, pleasant. Let's draw the other one as the eye socket. Come down to the cheekbone maybe. You can see some of the back of the chin there, and maybe again let's get like there's a piece of rope holding that in a bit. Isn't it out? Cool, it's working. I drew another kind of strap in here, so I can keep that in because it gives more pattern and detail. And then we'll get some billowing on this, and it will billow over this strap and kind of come out. And it's very weathered and ripped, and maybe that pops around, and we'll put some little holes in. We're going to bring it around that so it pinches on that material. Okay, nearly done, just working our way down now. Maybe he needs Need something to hold his ragtag trousers up, wouldn't he? Got a lot of belts on this guy. Not sure if I'm putting another one in or not. Let's try. Got another belt that's kind of coming in here. It's going to curve around. You can see a lot of it. It's coming up around the crutch. It's coming up here. Maybe it's, let's get a little bit more pattern on here, and it's got a little bit of, everyone needs to learn to sew, it's very useful. Let's get a little bit of texture on this as well, so it's a little bit more pattern, so it feels like a different piece of material. Maybe we could keep that theme on these, and we can do another one there. Let's just make sure it has a thickness here, so a thicker piece of object over piece of object that's there. Maybe this is a, I don't know, something got a bit of texture. Right, let's bulk him out a bit. He's quite a strong guy, sailor. He's always working on the seas. We're going to suggest the kneecap a bit underneath the kneecap. He's got a few scars down his legs. We're going to get into the calf around that knee bone and come down. This leg, I think, will keep what we had. It's like this fur-topped boot. So I'm just doing some abstract shapes, deliberately making them feel like they're wrapping around this leg object. And then keeping these straps curved. Trying to keep thicknesses in them. And maybe we'll add like it's almost got like an iron plate on the sole of this shoe, but it's kind of strapping around it, so it's got like a base to it, so some protection. That's an idea. This side we're going to do the same, but we're going to give him like imagine like a shin pad of some kind. So again, it's like that protection. He seems to like his wood, doesn't he? So we'll kind of add this wood shin pad, but we've got to think about how that's tied in there. So let's get down, got down here, down to the knee bone, a little bit of shape around that knee, give us some thickness here, into the calf. So I'm going to bring that strapping around a little bit more. Just going to pull this out because we're still going to keep this furry kind of top, but it's like behind this now, and we'll put strapping through here. How's this going? Is it going in a hole on top? This one's going on top. This one's gone around the top. This one's gone around the top here. That works. Stripping here, strapping there is going around, and we had this bit of metal or something giving us some kind of sole on these shoes. I need to darken these outside edges a bit because all my line details are a little bit the same thickness, so he's going to get lost in this. Just darken this a bit. I think he needs to be a bit thicker in the leg there. Just get my eraser. That's kind of working, yeah. It's a little bit of something in here. Don't know if it's like line pattern, like stains and muck and things. Get some hair on his legs, I think, or some pattern mark making. Just get some the ties off here. We'll get some bits hanging down. Kind of work, something like that. Darken some of these outside edges to make sure this stands out a bit more. A little bit dark in there. Right, that arm's looking a bit small at the moment. Let me grab all of that. with my lasso tool. And I'm going to edit, transform, scale it. I'm going to cheat. Kind of leaning back and looking at this. I've got another monitor, I'm looking in that as well, but I think it just needs to be bigger. We should be redrawn really, so I'm going to cheat, and then I'm going to go to, these are called marching ants if you don't know. So if I go to deselect, it's deselected that. I've got my eraser and I'm just going to draw and correct what needs to be corrected in there. So I don't love where that's sat now. I'm going to go back to my lasso tool. I'm going to grab this. This arm needs to come out. So again, I'm going to get my movement selection tool this time up here. I'm going to grab that and I'm going to pull it out. Because the shoulder's not, the shoulder would be here. So I'm trying to get, think about this length, I've got to keep a similar length into that shoulder. Okay. Yeah. Let's try that. I'm pressing enter and then select, deselect. Oh, select, deselect, sorry. Back up here. Let's do some kind of corrections to these angles now. This arm's gonna, let's put some on. Might not help me at the moment. There'll be a sleeve kind of coming down here. Maybe. Still not quite convinced. Now if it was broad, we'll keep it for now. Can't win them all. I'm going to put a little bit of texture down this arm. Kind of thin and on this thumb doesn't look like a thumb at the moment. It's making this look a bit awkward. So let's change the angle of that and then change the angle of this finger. So we're kind of coming to a knuckle and then wrapping this knuckle around and keeping that thumb shape. Oops, sorry. That's better. It's not perfect, but it feels more like a thumb wrapping around a little bit more. Right, and then I quite liked the little trophies. I think for this drawing it adds a little bit of make some shape to the overall pose, the overall sketch. So we're just going to pull these wooden poles down. Remember, I've got this kind of textured brush that allows me. It's quite nice. Something it feels like a sketch. We've got some little teeth hanging in here. Got the cheekbone. Got the eye cavity, a little crack in there. It's obviously an evil skull, and the nose hole. And we'll just put some little bit of detail in the skull, and there's a crack in this one. And we'll put a few directional marks to get a little bit of texture. Let's darken that outside ledge. So again, it sits above the rest of the image. And we've got this banner on this one that's kind of strapped in here. Let's get a little bit of shape. It's going to tuck around. Let's get that pole in. It's doing something like this, and then we've got this edge. Let's get a little nick in, so it's not perfect, and it's got very tattered. It's gonna roll back around, isn't it? we'll do is get a little bit curved to here, and we'll put, I don't know, some kind of arrowhead on this one. And another kind of abstract skull shape at the back here. Let's turn this nose cavity to the side slightly and get these eye holes working. This feels a bit of a strange squashed skull, this one. Maybe this one, we do what we did earlier and get some, like it's tied on somehow. It might work. I'm going to get this pole in. A little bit of line pattern. Let's darken this outside edge. A little bit of wood pattern in here. And that might be it. So we'll pull back. Let's centre it a little bit more, if I can pick it up and move it. And there we are, a little line drawing for today. That's kind of cool. He looks quite vicious. I wouldn't want to meet him in a back alley, but as a little sketch, it kind of works. So I think that's going to be it for today. So if you like this, these kind of tutorials, check out our website, turnipstarfish.co.uk, and join us at one of our workshops. Thanks, guys.